Hey guys, today I want to talk about finding the balance between trusting God and taking prudent actions ourselves. Now, my little public service announcement, we are living in very difficult times right now. And as we approach the election, we're seeing increased violence, we're seeing assassination attempts, we're seeing, millions of people who have flooded across the border, talks of another pandemic, another lockdown. In my mind, and I think in a lot of people's minds, it's very prudent right now to be prepared, to have food and water, any medications you need, and have some cash on hand, because if the internet goes down or something happens, you may not be able to use credit cards. And I know some people do not carry even $1 on them anymore. I think those are things that are very prudent to do. In discussing it once with a friend, she said, well, I've prayed about it. God hasn't told me to do that. And that made me think, when something is self-evident, do we need to wait on God? So if you smell smoke in your house and there's a fire, do you stop and pray a rosary, or do you get out of the house? Right? I've seen this happen even in circumstances where somebody's flirting with a sinful situation. Maybe they're friends with a married man and they don't see it. Maybe other people see it, but there's a bond developing. But they say, oh no, if God didn't want me to be friends with him, he would show me. No, it's self-evident. All right, there's that famous story, of course, everybody knows it, the man in the flood, where the waters start rising, neighbor comes over with a boat and says, hey, Sam, get in. He says, no, God will save me. And the water rises, he's on the second floor of his house, another boat comes by, no, God will save me. And finally, the water's so high, he's on the roof, hanging onto his chimney. And a helicopter comes by, lets down the ladder. He says, no, God will save me. And he drowns. And he stands before St. Peter, and he's annoyed. And he says, I trusted God. How did this happen? So he said, well, let me check my records. According to this, we sent 2 boats and a helicopter. Right? Certain things are self-evident. So when it comes to the moral life, when it comes to just prudent decisions, we need to take initiative. I've seen there are some people that tend to over-spiritualize things. All right, that there's now we know there are miracles all the time, that God does intervene and save us, but we've got to be careful that we're not presumptuous about it. All right, he gives us knowledge, he gives us warnings. We can read the signs of the times. He tells us that in the scriptures, that we need to learn how to read the signs of the times. All right, so when something is self-evident, we don't need a specific pronouncement from God. All right, so how, again, do we evaluate that? Is it consistent with church teaching? Is it consistent with the 10 Commandments? All right, is it something that's obvious? Let's say a hurricane is coming and they're telling you to get food, water, batteries, and everything. We need to prepare for events like that. I mean, ironically, we were preparing for a hurricane 2 years ago, and we actually set our house on fire with a lithium battery, so be warned about that. But are we listening to the signs of the times? Are we taking initiative? God is expecting us to use human reason. All right, when it's a tougher thing that we need discernment on, okay, we wait for God to let us know. Should I move to this city? Should I marry this person? Even then, though, sometimes we do need to look at just the natural. All right, is this a good relationship? Is this something that is a moral relationship? All right, a lot of it is a natural state as well. I remember somebody years ago, it was a tragedy the way the whole thing worked out. It was a disastrous marriage, but he went to the priest and he said, well, she prays the rosary every day, she goes to daily mass. And the priest said, blah, blah, blah. Is she happy? Is she pretty? And can she cook? Meaning that it's a natural state marriage. There has to be attraction. There has to be those natural things. Don't over-spiritualize things, all right? If it's self-evident, all right, God gave us senses. He wants us to use them. He gave us reason and intellect as well. So be careful not to over-spiritualize it, all right? If it's self-evident, we don't have to wait on God to give us some major announcement or major movement if it's something that is really clear. So I leave it to your discernment whether you prepare or not. I think it's always a good idea to have food and water on hand, have cash on hand. We're living in difficult times. So pray for all of you. May God bless each and every one of you. And let's trust him, but we work like everything depends on us, and we pray like everything depends on God. God bless you.